on today's show.
Al Horford muscles his way past the Wizards for the game-winning bucket.
The Warriors get down and dirty while a Steph Curry record puts Memphis on the brink.
And watch your legs, people. We've got another playoff edition of the Meme Team.
It's Thursday, May 14th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're joining us live online, you're listening to the podcast, catching us on YouTube, watching on NBA TV, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Hey, how do you do?
To my right,
Okay.
to my right, starters blog
howdy.
editor,
Okay, bye.
Trey Kirby.
Hey,
Yo. And finally, a man who ate French fries and a Milky Way today, Lee Ellis.
Thanks for embarrassing me
Yeah,
in front
let's
of the
go.
whole world. Friends?
Hello, all right.
Mini Milky Way.
Yeah.
It was a tiny one. Only 3 French fries, too, so it's not that big a deal. All right, we got a lot to get to on tonight's show. We got a new edition of the Meme Team. But first, here on the starters, we start with the games. And we will start at the Fortress, just down the street, where Al Horford grabbed the biggest offensive rebound of his life, allowing him to drop in the game winner under the basket 2 seconds ago, gave the Hawks 82-81 victory over the Wizards. ATL now holds the 3-2 lead in their Eastern Conference semis. This was a very weird game, Tass. It was sort of ugly at times, but man, it got fun down the stretch.
Yeah, let's get right back to that ending. It's a tie game, 20 seconds left. It looks like Paul Pierce has a chance to put it away. Kyle Korver strips him. DeMarre Carroll, Al Horford run the perfect fast break. Did Pierce get hacked by Kyle Korver? Probably, but Korver masked it very well for his 6th steal of the game. So Pierce has another chance. Time taking down, only down 2. Pierce in front of the Hawks bench. No way. Yes, it's good.
Great play call.
He calls series right to the Hawks bench.
In their literal faces.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, it definitely felt like the series was over until Dennis Schroeder.
Sorry,
down,
John
Johnny.
Wall.
Call out for Dennis Schroeder just to go one-on-one. He misses, but Al Horford saves the day, running in from the three-point line for the beautiful putback. I mean, he literally saved their season right then and there, or else you're going back to Washington down 3-2. A wild, wild ending.
And he's getting Tim Duncan comparisons for this game, and I think that's pretty fair. He had 23, 11, and 5, but it felt like a lot more in that last play. Not called for him to go out there and just make a play and get the win. And even the gentle lay-in here, rather than an emphatic dunk or anything, very Tim Duncan.
And he got back on defense as well because he knew the game wasn't over. But just incredible that it was given to Dennis Schroeder to make a play from Mike Budenholzer. Al Horford had such a great game, and he's happy to go out there. He was supposed to set a pick on that play. I mean, it's incredible.
It was, again, a strange game, a game of back-and-forth runs. The Hawks went 7 minutes really there at the fourth quarter without making a basket. Then they ripped off 14 straight points. They take the lead, and then they give it away again. I mean, it was wild. But Al Horford, I'm happy to see. You see a lot of articles today giving this guy, who's been a star for a long, long time, that quiet sort of superstar for the Hawks, and always getting this team into the playoffs when he's healthy, always bringing it. You know, he's getting a lot of praise today, and I think rightfully so, because it's cliche, but he seemed to just be playing a little harder than everyone else last night, knowing the importance of this Game 5 at home as it now heads back to Washington. And on that last play, Kevin Arnovitz pointing out, when Wall blocks that, and a great block by Wall, and we'll get to him for playing, when he blocks Schroeder off the glass, 7 other players on the floor are actually closer to the basketball, and Al darts in there, grabs it, and lays it in. Yeah, and the guy's been clutch in the last 5 postseasons.
Now, one reason I'm cheering for Al Horford and the Hawks to get into the conference final, because I don't really think he's appreciated in a way that we should. I mean, we all sort of think of him as a fantastic basketball player, but in terms of the history of the Hawks, I don't think if he doesn't get to a conference final, we'll really look back and think of him as one of the best Hawks. I think he has to get that on his resume, just for him to be looked at as a special member of the Atlanta Hawks if he gets there.
The thing about him as well, he plays a position as a centre, and he's kind of undersized for that position. He's much better suited to a power forward, but they have to have him in the middle there. But you mentioned the Tim Duncan stuff. He was making the big plays at the defensive end and then on the offensive end as well. That little pick and pop jump shot that he's got going, even though he missed a couple, it didn't affect him because he hit that big three-pointer later on. But it's so reliable. You know, Coach Bud always goes to that when they need a basket because most of the time he delivers. But again, just on defense, any time they needed a stop, he was always involved. And that's what he does. And sometimes you just wonder if playing for Atlanta is why he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves.
I think it's a big part of it. Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And it's not the sexiest of games, right?
No.
I mean, but defensively, I don't even think he's 6'10". I mean, seeing him in person, it really doesn't feel like that, but he gets 5 blocks because he is busting his butt. it felt like harder than basically anybody on the floor.
And you're only going to really, from this game, remember the game winner, and that's fine. But again, during that stretch where Korver hit like a bomb three to sort of get the momentum going, Horford followed that up with a three in the corner. This is a guy that is not known for, he's tried to add the three-point shot to his game over this season especially, but he's made something like, 25 over his career?
Yeah, he's only 2 for 8 in the postseason, and it seems like he's taking a ton of them. Of course, he made the biggest one he needed to make.
Huge. Let's get to Dennis Schroeder though, because this was interesting. He had a god-awful first half to this game. You saw people on Twitter, Hawks fans, saying, "Get him out of here."
Yeah.
I mean, turnover after turnover. But then he was key down the stretch.
Well, he didn't start the fourth all that well. He's playing alongside Jeff Teague, and fans were extremely upset with this on Twitter. Jeff Teague sent to the bench after he didn't have very good of a fourth quarter. Then Dennis Schroeder lit it up. I mean, without Jeff Teague, the assists mainly, and then he started hitting buckets. And Jeff Teague apparently from the bench said keep him out there because Jeff Teague had a terrible basketball game. The most turnovers he's had all season long in this key game, and everyone calling Jeff Teague the key to the series. Well, Dennis Schroeder stepped up and made it happen in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's nice that Bud has a second option at point guard because sometimes Jeff Teague just isn't totally aggressive all the time, which is exactly what you need for this system. Schroeder, even if he's missing shots, you know he's going to go into the lane. You know he's going to take open shots when they're there. He was great, and he was a huge reason the Hawks pulled it out.
It'd be so weird what the narrative would be this morning, though, if Horford doesn't grab that loose ball and puts it in, and everyone's going, Schroeder, with 8 seconds to go in a must sort of win game, is the guy that's taking the shot. People would definitely be saying that and questioning Bud's decision.
Yeah, but it's interesting that Bud has those two in the lineup together because they're pretty small when they're both in there. But the thing about Jeff Teague as well, it is his team as the point guard, but for him to, in a playoff game, to say to the coach, leave him out there, even though he wasn't having a great game to that point. I think that's huge, and I think that speaks about the whole Atlanta Hawks, how they all work together. Same thing again with Al Horford on that last play. He's happy to set the screen. They just want the best basket and the best look for their team, and that's what they got. And they got the win, and that's great for the Hawks.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. There was a whole lot of turnovers from both teams. The Hawks something like 25.
How do they get a win with 25 turnovers? I mean, if Al Horford doesn't get the little tipsy two at the end, then what are we talking about? We're talking about a team that didn't execute, a team that doesn't have a number one guy. But they obviously all get it done together. But to win a basketball game where you score 82 points is because the Washington Wizards, sure, the Hawks were playing great D, but the Wizards gave the ball away 20 times themselves.
Yes.
I mean, this was their game to steal on the road. They're up most of it. And for them to give it away at the end, obviously, they're looking at themselves in the mirror and are going to come out big time on Friday night.
Let's talk a little bit about John Wall, who comes back after the 3-game absence there with the fractured hand and wrist. It was a bit of a question mark right up until tip. Is he playing? Is he not playing? And then mysteriously, there was a blank spot left on the
the starting lineup list.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then they fill it in with Wall. So he goes, and he looked great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He looked great for a guy playing with, for all intents and purposes, a broken hand and wrist.
Yeah, best player on the court for a long time, I would say, and he looked completely unconcerned with that broken hand, diving all over the floor, blocking shots, just kind of playing exactly like John Wall. It didn't work out well for him in the end, but who cares? He looked amazing going into this game for having not played in so many days, and now you're going to Game 6 back in Washington. You got to be encouraged.
The guy is tough, and I know we just throw that word around in sports, but to play 37 minutes with that hand, I really don't think he wanted to sit out whatsoever, even with a broken hand, but he was told to, and he needed to. Even if after he suffered that broken hand, he played through it the rest of the game, and then he was in the post-game interview worried about Bradley Beal's injury. Don't worry, he'll be fine. He wasn't worried about himself.
Yeah.
He just battled through, and obviously 37 minutes at that type of level, that just shows you how tough he is.
I'm very excited for Game 6 here in Washington, and I think we're still setting ourselves up here for a possible Game 7 back in Atlanta. And I love that with any series, the longer it goes, the more you start to see the fireworks between the two teams. You just get tired of playing the same guy and hearing the same guy chirping. A couple times in this game, there was the Millsap and Nene exchange, pushing each other. They just get tired of each other. A little later, it was DeMarre Carroll and Paul Pierce. And of course, you got Pierce talking trash throughout the game. And I think John Wall was talking a lot to the crowd at times. He felt good. Earlier in this series, Teague got dinged with the flagrant foul on Beal, and later in that game, Beal sort of reciprocated hard foul on Teague, and Teague faked punching him, and he got attacked. I think we're going to get a whole lot more of this in Game 6, which is sort of weird with a team like the Hawks. They don't like I don't think they like to do a lot of this.
Yeah.
I think it's more in line with Paul Pierce and
Yeah, you
NA
can't
and
help
stuff like
it.
that.
It's been probably 15 years since Paul Pierce has went through a playoff series without somebody getting super mad at him.
Well, exactly. So you would expect some more fireworks here
Oh,
in
yeah.
Game 6 as it goes back to Washington. Happy John Wall is back, though, because it should be another great game. A weird game, but very entertaining in the end. All right, got to take a break. When we come back, jump over to the other game from last night. The Warriors officially have their mojo back. We'll break it down and a whole lot more. Back with the starters, and we go to Oakland, where Steph Curry turned in another MVP-worthy performance. Klay Thompson got hot late, and Golden State rolled past Memphis. They take a 3-2 lead in their Western Conference semifinal series. Your final score, you see it there. Dubs 98, Grizz 78. This was a beatdown.
Well, Grizzlies were up double digits late in the first. It looked like a Grizzly Bear type of game, and then the Warriors started pushing the basketball. They started moving it. I mean, Steve Kerr preaches this all the time, not necessarily because you're going to get layups out of it, but because you're going to push, and if that initial push isn't there, you find a way to get a three-point shot, and those are the Warriors' layups. That's exactly what they are. They're wide open shots for this jump shooting team. That's their version of easy baskets, and that's how it works. So they got a little sloppy with 16 turnovers, unfortunately, but those fast break points, I mean, once they get it going, they're basically unbeatable. 29 fast break points in the last two games.
Yeah, and it's really tough for the Grizzlies, too. The turnovers are bad, the missed shots are bad because they're getting those three-point opportunities, and really the Grizzlies can't keep up when the Warriors are hitting that many threes. There's no way they can just score enough points to even stay in the game.
You're right. There was that stretch in
Yeah.
sort of midway through the first quarter, and Steph Curry hit something like 3 threes, and suddenly they're just like going up one at the end of the first quarter, and you're the Grizzlies going, what just happened?
Yeah.
What just happened? Zach Randolph was playing great. We looked good.
We had a great first quarter.
And
for a
then
second.
we don't have the lead.
Steph Curry had 18 points on 6 three-pointers. It felt like he had 35 or 40 because he scored 12 of those points, I think, within about a 2-minute spurt and got the Warriors on top. But the thing about the Warriors is when they get out in front, it is so hard to chase them down. They're 51-0 when they have a lead of 15 points or more this season. Like, you know, once you've got a lead out like that, and we talked about this the other day, even though Tony Allen wasn't playing, is have the Grizzlies got enough firepower to be able to come back from that and still defend at the other end? Because that's their big problem, is that they can have a sort of defensive lineup, but then it takes away from their offense, or they can have an offensive lineup, but then the Warriors just go down and just get any shot they want.
Yeah, if the Warriors end up winning this series, end up winning the title, they are going to change the way we look at jumpers because those are layups. And you know, everyone says that a jump shooting team can't win the title. Well, they're changing the way we think about that because, I mean, those are layups.
Phil Jackson isn't going for it.
He's not going for it, no.
Well, I mean, the big difference, of course, is, you know, the jump shot that's 18 feet and sort of his old school mentality to being able to do what Steph Curry and Klay Thompson do from 25 feet.
Yeah.
And you're getting 3 points instead of 2. I mean, it's a momentum shifting thing. I like with the Warriors when, you know Curry's going to get hot. You know Klay's eventually going to find his stroke. You know Draymond Green's even going to have an impact, even though he didn't score a lot. You know, setting up guys, he was really good, and he's going to give it to you defensively, him and Bogut. When the Warriors, start getting things from Harrison Barnes, who again has been phenomenal in this series, and especially Andre Iguodala on the offensive end, this team, I think, is almost next to unstoppable when those guys are chipping in. And when the three ball is falling, and you see it in the series, in the wins, they're hitting 13 or 14, getting a whole lot up. In the 2 losses, they went 6 of 26. Which, you know, again, like Steph said after Game 2, well, that won't happen often. It was weird that it happened in Game 3, but you're sort of right. It's come back to normal.
It's funny with the Grizzlies. They have to score more than 78 points to win a basketball game.
A lot more.
And the Warriors' defense is obviously very good. But Dave Yeager said, I mean, we're going to have to score 100 points at some point to beat this very, very sound offensive team. And to get the Warriors to turn over the ball 16 times but still be unable to take care of business. I mean, this speaks to a couple things. I think Tony Allen, yes, he's not a scorer, but they didn't play the Grizzly way type of basketball to slow down those fast breaks, because that's how the Warriors get out and just beat you. I mean, this just can't happen. You just can't allow this team to get out on the break, and the Grizzlies simply just can't find the bucket.
Yeah, and credit has to go to Bogut and, again, Green. Those guys inside. This is the reason.
Just packing it in.
This is a big part. They're just packing it in, and there's a second guy always there to try and help out on a Zach Randolph or Gasol when they are in the paint or anyone attacking.
Yeah, the lack of shooting for the Grizzlies is really, really starting to pile up.
Courtney Lee is not even shooting.
3 shots.
3 shots.
That's not enough. You're not getting enough from Jeff Green, and it allows the Warriors to be able to double team, and then that has a cyclical effect because the way that the Grizzlies Grizzlies get a lot of their shots is kickouts from the post on those double teams. But if those guys aren't shooting well, you're just going to get killed, and that's what's happened the past 2 games.
Yeah, Jeff Green subbing in for Tony Allen into the starting lineup, looking to get some scoring out of him. And he has to be led by other guys while he sort of chips in. And 10 points wasn't really cutting it in this one. As a starter, it's unfortunate, but I mean, that's what we sort of expected when Jeff Green went over there. He wasn't really going to be the difference maker, and apparently this trade, it's apparent, hasn't worked out the way many people thought it would.
For sure. The good news for the Grizzlies is Tony Allen is telling everyone, he's telling reporters, look, I got the hamstring injury. I didn't play in Game 5, but I will play in Game 6 on Friday. And look, it's no secret they need him.
Yeah,
they
can't
need him
win
in
another
there
game without
to
him.
at least try and slow down one of the Curry or Klay combo.
He's had a good record against Klay Thompson, and that alone is just going to have a huge impact on the Memphis Grizzlies because Klay Thompson, we've seen him in the last couple of games, he's just felt a little bit looser, and he's got a few of those shots to go in, and if he fires up in Game 6, then it's very, very hard to see
The problem is, though, going back to Game 4, and we talked about it, Tony was out there, he was playing, and the new strategy, the new defensive strategy from Kerr and the Warriors was put Bogut on him and just stay away from Tony and let him shoot. That's going to happen again if he does play, you would think.
That's why I think Klay Thompson was out there at the end of this blowout, just to keep him happy and comfortable so he goes in to Game 6
with a little confidence.
feeling the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's good enough. It's just mentally, I think sometimes Tony Allen gets into your head, which he gets into a lot of people's head.
Quick question. You think this goes 7?
No.
Yes.
No.
Don't add that. Lee, the only one saying 7. Let's hear from you guys
What
on
an
Twitter.
optimist.
Hashtag the starters. All right, got to take a break. When we come back, 2 roses make our playoff edition of the meme team. You're watching the starters. Back with the starters. Every Thursday, we scour the internet to bring you the meme team, our favorite weird and wacky moments from the past 7 days. So with that said, let's get to this week's starting 5.
At number 5, it's Harrison Barnes doing the splits. If you remember Steph Curry's MVP speech, he made fun of the day he met Barnes because Barnes in high school was just so concerned with staying flexible. Well, it's obviously paid off. He does hot yoga as well. And then the internet got to work. Jean-Claude Van Damme, the Volvo commercial, great stuff. Then the blood sport on the chairs, and then a little Mortal Kombat. Raiden loses.
At number 4, get your short shorts on. Rapper Froggy Fresh's new song.
Yeah, I'm talking about that man, Jimmy Butler. Put your weapon on the Cavs, they some busters. I ain't gonna lie, LeBron, you's a baller. But Jimmy Butler is your baller. Yeah, I'm talking about that man, Jimmy Butler. Put the whooping on the Cavs, they some busters. I ain't gonna lie, LeBron, you's a baller. But Jimmy Butler is your baller.
Yes, that was made before Game 5.
At number 3, a couple legends in Chicago taken in the game, Scottie Pippen and Kanye West. Kanye West gets caught smiling. He doesn't like that. No. I'm hard. Gotta stay hard no matter what. Caught me smiling. Nope, gotta stay hard. That's me, I'm hard.
Couple of legends right there.
Friday night, Derrick Rose started the NBA buzzer-beating weekend by banking one home in Game 3, and then he turned into an emotional robot. Nothing.
So funny.
Just nothing. Blank stares. And the memes started flying. One of our favorites, Game Blouses. Prince from the Chappelle Show. Then, Game 4, following LeBron's buzzer beater, Derrick Rose Jr. with one of the best faces ever at the post-game press conference. And because the internet is weird, they swapped heads.
At number 1, it's the Matthew Dellavedova leg lock on Taj Gibson. Taj gets tossed because Matthew Dellavedova locked his legs.
Yeah.
I guess that's what Aussies do, right?
That's what you do, especially around Maryborough, Ballarat way. Big up there.
You just said a lot of syllables in 1 second. I'm not sure what you said. And that's spurred on the memes. Check the Ric Flair man boobs of Matthew Dellavedova right there. And then Lee Ellis.
I'm telling you.
Check out those man boobs.
It's a standard move.
It's a standard Aussie
Yeah.
move.
Standard move.
When you're in line for a taxi or something like that, you're waiting.
This is incredibly dangerous, Lee. He's drinking a hot tea right there.
Yeah, he didn't pay for it though, so it's okay.
Like you pay for anything around here.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah. Lunch. Beautiful.
Lunch, anytime. Keep your legs safe when you're walking around, Lee Ellis. Always creeping on the floor.
You can have leg locks anytime.
There it is. There's the meme team. Good news from last night, though. We had another wedgie. 50 is alive.
Oh yeah.
We did. We show you each one because they're beautiful snowflakes. I thought this one was pretty unique.
Oh, yeah.
From that angle, Harrison Barnes finds the wedge early on in the first quarter. causing an uproar on the internet. Even the Golden State Warriors Twitter account getting in on it, tweeting wedgie immediately.
That's what we want. We want the teams to get behind it and support this cause.
187 favorites on that tweet.
We're creeping on 50. We shall get there.
47.
You're the wedgie.
The question is, what will we do when we get to 50?
There is 29 games maximum remaining. So
You've
we
done the
need
math.
one. Yeah,
We got it.
We need one roughly every 8.5
We're
games.
fine. We're fine. We're fine. Are we gonna have a party? What are we gonna
Let's
do?
do
Get a
it.
cake?
Yeah,
Pool
let's have a
party.
Pool party. Okay, I'm in. All right, we're gonna take one more break. When we come back, Leeds, VSP, and a quick look at tonight's games. Come on back. You're watching the starters. Welcome back to the starters. Lee, we're headed to the Fortress for the very solid play.
We are, and it's a simple one from the Zards. John Wall, you think he's going for the Chris Paul jump shot here, but he's not. He fires it underneath to Otto Porter, who lays it up. Beautiful play there from Johnny Wall. Just zaps across the lane, over to Otto Porter. Beautiful. And that's what I call a very solid play.
Thought it was coming from Mike Fratello. The Zod.
Let's look ahead at tonight's two games. Game sixes, of course, big games. Got the Cavs and the Clippers with the possibility of closing it out. Gets underway at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Cleveland holds the 3-2 series lead. Clippers hold the 3-2 series lead in the second game tonight. Pau Gasol expected to play for the Bulls. That's the latest word coming from them. He remains on track to go. Even if he is limited, you have to think that at least his presence will help on the boards, and maybe at times when they go a little cold at scoring the basketball, can go to Pau and get a bucket.
Definitely need him offensively when the Bulls are getting slowed down, but you also need to figure out a way to keep Tristan Thompson off the glass. Not always Pau's strongest.
That's fair. As for the Clippers, again, trying to finish off the Rockets. They're at home, so they got Game 6 at home here. We showed you this yesterday. The Clippers as a franchise, in series-clinching games to reach the conference finals, have not done well. First off, it hasn't happened a lot, but you see there the results, be it there in Game 5 when they had the possibility. They lost by 21 to the Rockets, the Suns back in 06, and before they were even in LA in 75, losing by 19 to the Bullets. Is tonight the night that the Clips move on to the conference finals?
The way this series gone, you'd expect them to win by 19, 20, or 21.
Yeah, it
Whoever
hasn't-
wins the rebounding will win tonight. That's how it's going first.
Fair enough. Hasn't been close. Reminder, also, tomorrow, we'll be back here at the desk, but before that, in the morning, we do the hour-long podcast. It's called The Drop. It's up on iTunes. It's up on the blog. We'll be talking about all the series, answering a whole lot of your questions that you guys sent in. Keep them coming, starters@nba.com. And then after that, we'll be here at the desk, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thank you for joining us, folks. And remember, falsetto is not a true indicator of one's singing ability. That's why it's called falsetto.
Brace the night, people.